All right.
All right. Good morning. Welcome everyone to another live chat discussion here on the NextOppSocial channel. As always, I'm Richelle Wright Wilson. I'm joined by Juwan Buford, and today we're very excited to introduce English Reed-Jones. English is a proud millennial on the move, determined to unite fellow like-minded peers to be change agents in our community and across the world. She's the CEO and founder of Millennials versus Everybody. She sits on the advisory board of Brilliant Detroit. She spends a large portion of her time as a Vanguard fellow and a cryptocurrency trader. So before we jump in to learning more about English and learning about her background, as always, if you're watching with us here live or on the replay, please make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you never miss out on an interview, a live, or any of the incredible discussions we have here at NextOppSocial. Okay, let's get into it. Welcome, English. Thank you again for joining us today. We're very excited to have you talk about your journey. So let's jump into it. Tell us more about yourself. And because we're all about entrepreneurship here, what caused you to fall in love with being an entrepreneur?
Awesome. Great question. Well, hello, everyone. My name is English with an I, and I'm super honored to be here. Today is actually my birthday, February 17th. So I'm really, really excited. So a little bit more about me. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I went to high school in Farmington Hills. I went to school in Bowling Green State University, and there I studied communication with a focus in advocacy and an emphasis in social service. I then traveled. I spent 3 months in South Africa. And when once I came back, I really enlarged my vision on how I can impact, right? Like, what does it really look like to impact? And I learned so much in South Africa. And so I just came back here super inspired to create more spaces like that, where people feel inspired and alive. And so I created Millennials versus Everybody. And I really created that to create more spaces for like-minded millennials to come together, to support each other, to have resources to move forward. Because in undergrad, there's so many different workshops. There's, so many different things you can do on campus. And then you graduate and you come and you're like, okay, how do I personally develop? How do I professionally develop? Like, what does that look like? Where do I go for that? And so I seen that was a need. And then I also realized, like, I'm super involved in the community. And I know that millennials care about the community as well, but they don't know the actual avenues to get there. And so Millennials versus Everybody formed a membership-based social enterprise that empowers and equips millennials with intellectual tools, professional resources, and civic engagement opportunities to lead greater lives. So I'll do research on things that are important to millennials. What do they need to learn right now? Just how can they be better, right? And so I would do events around the city to address that. And then I did a program at Tech Town, and then I started doing, Build Detroit, Prosper Us, everything. Like, I've done all Michigan Women Forward, like I've done all the major business programs in the city. And when I graduated, I did a lot of nonprofit work, and I wanted to see what like corporate social responsibility looked like. And I recognized I had to expand my network, and I looked for a job, and I looked for a job, and I looked for a job. And it's really not what it seems like once you graduate. And so entrepreneurship was the way. Like, I'm not sure, like, people think, job is secure and stuff, and that's not always the case. And so sometimes you're kind of just forced to grind. And my mom's an entrepreneur, so I've seen that type of hustle all my life. And I've never really been good with jobs before, and so yeah, that's pretty much kind of like how I got to MBE. And then, as we know, like, it takes money to scale a business, right? And I won't necessarily get into all my feelings about funding and capital and all that, but at the end of the day, I know it's better to sit at the table. Like, I'm a millionaire too, so how is this going to mutually benefit us? Like, I'm not sitting at the table because I need your money. I'm sitting at the table because there is a mutually beneficial relationship for us to go in a partnership. And so I've just really realized the power of having capital. And so I kind of pivoted. And with COVID, like, MBE is just trying to figure out, how do we now serve the community at best? And what I've been focusing on now is raising my capital and showing other people how they can too become six-figure earners. And it's just been beautiful for me. And learning that with business, like I said, comes scaling and money. And so I've been more focused now than ever on, like, I build my social capital, but financially, what does that look like? Like, now I'm 26, like I'm an adult, and I have to support myself in the vision that I have for MBE. That is going to be a billionaire, millionaire organization. It will be a household name. And so with that type of vision comes big capital, and being able to sit at the table, like, I'm bringing something to the table. Not that I need you, but let's build a reciprocal relationship.
I love it. Man, you just shared a lot.
Yeah, I want to do that, bro.
There's a lot. I know. It's all good. I love it, man. That means you're in flow, you're in alignment, you're focused, you know what it is you want to accomplish. That is a beautiful thing when we see it. But I want to unpack a little bit of this, right? Because you talked about this experience you had in South Africa, and you talked about this desire to get civically engaged. And I remember we used to have this conversation about, how do you engage younger folk? How do you engage folk, period? Like, what does that process look like, right? And I mean, you grabbed the bull by the horns. I mean, I'm hearing a little bit that, of course, you had a great role model in your mother, right? She had the hustle, the grind, the entrepreneurial spirit. So that's all up in your DNA, obviously. Yeah. But for those listening in who say, look, I want to be civically engaged, I want to get involved. There are things I want to do in the community, and, I want to monetize the activities I'm involved in. Talk to us a little bit. What did that process look like? So you came back from South Africa and you knew you wanted to do something in the community, but there had to have been some type of process, some type of beta testing, some type of soul searching. What did that look like?
Yeah, that's really a great question. So actually, I did a program at Tech Town that helped me with that, right? So essentially, I was creating a tech company to bring the relationships between millennials and nonprofits, because oftentimes nonprofits will spend their marketing dollars to donors who will give a lot, right? Because millennials will just give a little bit here and there. And so I digested that. Well, research shows that millennials were civically engaged. Well, we care about social issues, let's say that, right? And what I realized is a lot of millennials did not know how to connect with nonprofits, right? Like, what did that look like? But nonprofits always need volunteers, right? They always need, people to be doing things to help them, right? So sorry about that. So I was like, okay, so what is it, right? And so creating a space where millennials actually engage with to meet nonprofits, and then for nonprofits to engage with millennials. So at Millennials versus Everybody, our arm for nonprofit memberships allows them to get a landing page on MBE with a call to action. So when millennials are coming to already look for resources to grow professionally, now they have a way to grow civically, right? Now they have a way to connect with nonprofits that may align with them, and not just saying, hey, go pick up trash. But if you're in a tech development, then let's see what nonprofit might need that actually fit with your passions, right? Like, I have friends who do like online stores and marketing and stuff like that. I'm sure that if they met a nonprofit who needed better sales funnels, it's something that they already do, that they might not mind doing for pro bono, or creating these relationships. And so I think what it is one, like creating an avenue for millennials to actually know how to connect with these nonprofits, and then for nonprofits to spend more of their marketing dollars towards millennials, or create a space where it's like not necessarily, having it where like these are our needs, but millennials having the agency to say, okay, this works for me or it doesn't. Because sometimes they're community service opportunities present it, and they're, sometimes they're far in between, and they're not their passion. So I recognized that was a clear relationship that needed to be made. And so at Tech Town, we did customer discoveries where I talked to over 70 impact workers and nonprofits in the city of Detroit to learn what their needs are. They need help with website, they need help with marketing, they need help with all this savvy stuff that millennials can do, right? And so how do we create intentional relationships? And so I actually got a grant with COAC Detroit, a phenomenal grant, a partnered grant with Operation Refuge to help us even more digest what does that relationship look like for real, right? And how do we get millennials' voices on these nonprofit boards? How do we ensure that our skill sets are actually valued and used? And what does that relationship look like? So Juwan, I don't have a full answer. I got what I've been doing and what I'm working to do to create a very clear blueprint. But it is, I recognize that I have privilege. I know nonprofits. If I want to get involved with, teen work, right? I can go to Destined for Greatness, right? That's for teen girls, right? Who help young people. A lot of people just can't think of nonprofits off rip like that. And so I'm creating spaces where, all right, millennials come here, you can find it. Nonprofits come here and you guys can build a relationship.
All right. I love it. Yeah. So I know a lot of people are not aware about you, but you are literally a statistical encyclopedia. I remember from the events you would put on, you would stand in front of the room and read off statistics. I'm like, this is not a game. English actually takes the time to do the research, collect the data. She is up in the middle of the night doing this stuff, right? And I remember when I saw you making the transition to realizing you needed to bring capital to the table, right? I remember having that conversation with you. And look, we don't want you to be bashful or to be coquettish about this conversation, because that's why we invited you out, right? People need to understand that beggars can't be choosers, right?
Right.
And you have to come, the bottom line is you want community centers, if you want any type of resource in your community, you got to be willing to pay for it. Freedom isn't free. Freedom isn't free. So, we live in the United States of America. In this country, it's a capitalistic framework. You got to learn how to play in that framework if you want to be able to curate the lifestyle you desire for yourself and your family. So let's get that out the way, right? We're entrepreneurs. People be having these weird relationships with money. No, not here. Okay. So, so let's just get that out of the way. I want you to be unabashed and free, English. So, okay. With all that being said, what prompted you to move in the direction of cryptocurrency, right? I kind of already spilled some of the beans, but really, what was going through your mind? Why did you get excited about it? What did that process look like?
Yeah. So what I would say is what really kind of like prompted me into that is learning more about funding, learning more about how you can actually get funds to grow your business. People want a chunk of it. You have to have every single paperwork, this, and this way. You gotta know the right people. It always comes down to, knowing the right people, having the best relationship. There is like so many hoops and loops just to be supported financially, right? And so I started to think like, wait, there's a way for us to do that, right? Like even in nonprofit work, when you fill out a grant for a foundation, they only can support you for maybe 6 to 7 years, right? And anybody knows that when you're truly doing a program, first of all, the first year is just trial and error, right? Then you kind of finally figure it out. You get that first cohort in and you make it work and you're moving and you're growing. And maybe by the time you get to year 5, it's perfect. And then your funding stops. What? And then 2, foundations are like, they've done the research. They want to tell you how you address your community concerns and how you should spend the money tit for tit. But you're not in the community. You don't know what we're going through for real. You're not on the ground working. So how dare you nitpick and say how I should choose and how I spend the money? And how dare you say how I should address my community? No. So I already, figured out research in that area. And then 2, like people want to own, I want 30%. You want 30% because you can invest a little money. Stop, bro. Like, so it's just like, and then like I said, the relationships with the banks, like there's so much in that, that we're not even going to go into. But it's just like, okay, English, you know what you want for MBE. You know what you're going to tolerate. You know what you're not. And you understand it's a different conversation when you sit down and you've got money, right? So I started to think like, okay, English, like, how you about to get some money? You know what I mean? And then we're in the pandemic. I said, girl, you are a part of a $7.7 trillion market, right? I trade in the foreign exchange exchange market as well as crypto. Crypto has become something more popular, obviously, but I'm like, you have a skill set where you can make money straight from your phone and straight from your laptop. You've got to take this seriously because you know what you want to do. You understand what financial, freedom is going to bring into your life. And I believe personally, there has to be more billionaires in this world. And so the track that I was on was not creating me a billionaire quickly, right? And it wasn't the best vehicle. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I really got into my foreign exchange bag, and crypto has just been going crazy, obviously, right? We had a huge fall and a huge pullback in cryptos, especially like when the economy and stuff went down. If you look at any cryptos, they all were like super low, like 6 months ago. Now they're like on the uprise, right? And Bitcoin especially is making a lot of noise. And anytime you look into crypto, that's going to be the first place that you start, and just being a part and seeing what's really going on, I'm like, oh, no, I've got to tap in. I see what's going on and I've got to really do the work to figure it out. I'm not one of the people who just going to watch and speculate. No, I need to know what's going on and how I can get involved. And so this is where I'm at. I just know to move a lot of other parts in my life. I can't be everywhere, but my money can, you know what I mean? So I can't be at every table, but I can, you get me?
So
I love it.
Using these terms, crypto, Bitcoin, the foreign exchange, like, can you, and obviously this could be a whole hours long of conversation about the differences or what all these things are, but for the short and sweet English version of it, right? For people who are like, I've heard these words, I don't really know the difference between these things. I don't really understand what these things are. Can you kind of break it down a little bit for us?
Yeah, sure, no doubt. So Bitcoin is a digital currency in the most simplest way to put it, right? It's a virtual currency and it's a type of money that you can literally exchange virtually. The cool thing about Bitcoin is it's not regulated, right? It doesn't have any restrictions. It's encrypted. It's probably the most safe thing out, right? It's probably the most safe thing out. It has no marketing department. It is not controlled by the government. It has zero venture capital raised from, there's no venture capitalists involved in this, right? And so it's kind of like makes it anybody can kind of get attached to it, right? And because we all have seen what technology has done, where we're going, right, in the tech world. If you would have invested in this in 2009, between 2009 and 2013, you would be a billionaire, you would be a millionaire. And you now see people like Elon Musk investing into this. I think the smartest way to just think about it, it's a digital currency. It is where the future is going, right? You can now buy so many things with Bitcoin, and there is a finite supply, right? Not everybody can get it. And Bitcoin is not something that just always comes out years for years for years. No, that's not how this works. So it's definitely, I think just simplify it. It's a digital currency. It's like money, but it's digital. You can send it, you can protect it, you can have an encrypted wallet. I'm sure the government is about to figure out some type of way to get into it. I mean, it's still taxed, but they're not controlling nothing. So that's cool.
Nice.
So for the individuals that are listening in, and like you said before, maybe they've heard about Bitcoin on the news. Maybe they've heard about Bitcoin from watching a video of an excited entrepreneur like yourself talking about it. And they're like, okay, well, how do I get involved in Bitcoin? And why is this important to me? I think the question I posed to you is for the factory worker, excuse me, putting in, 60 hours a week and knows they need to do something other than just collect that check from the plant and hope the job's going to be there 20 years from now, which we know job security is an oxymoron. If you believe in that, you might as well believe in a tooth fairy, right? But seriously, for those individuals who are forward thinking like that,
right.
How does one even learn about Bitcoin? How does one get engaged with it? Like you said before, it's a finite resource, even though I think that needs to change in order for it to gain enough traction to really blow up the way it should. But the bottom line is, for someone who knows nothing about nothing, how do they get engaged and learn about Bitcoin and how they can apply it to their finances?
Well, Bitcoin has made some crazy shifts since Christmas. Like, let's start there.
Okay.
And it has gained traction. Just some people just aren't in the right circles or may not be having the right conversation. I'm going to tell you guys how I really learned about Bitcoin. And for someone that is, just maybe getting a check and not investing in, or they know a job is not reliable, Bitcoin is a living, moving, breathing currency that is adding value each and every day. Okay, so before Christmas, Bitcoin was at 15K. You guys obviously just seen Bitcoin went up to 50K, right? And it's constantly growing and moving. Now,
English, let me help you out. So when you say Bitcoin went up to 50K, what does that mean to someone that knows nothing about Bitcoin listening to this right now? What does that mean? Bitcoin went up to 50K.
The value, like who invests in it, like who owns it, like because it is scarce, right? The value of it is going up. You know what I mean? So like more people are investing in it, more people are buying the coin, so it's making it go up. Now you can buy the coin and you can day trade the coin, right? Day trading the coin, depending on like if you started back in 2018 or 2013 or even like, yeah, we had a down. Maybe I think Bitcoin might have went to 9K like last March, right? So even if you would have been in when Bitcoin was 9K and you would have bought a couple of Bitcoin then, like you would be straight. But if you day trade Bitcoin right now, you can run it up. We had somebody in our investment group who's 19, made $200,000 off Bitcoin. I've also had another person in my investment group make $200,000 off Bitcoin simply from investing like $30, $40, $50 in it, day trading it. So it's a couple of different ways that you can trade. And, like I said, you can either buy some of the coin, right, which is through Robinhood, Cash App. Then you want to get an encrypted wallet and then save your that password only for you. You don't own your Bitcoin if it's just sitting there and you don't have it in a wallet and it's not protected, right? So just putting that out there. You can day trade Bitcoin on something called MT4, MetaTrader 4, and you can invest in Bitcoin pip by pip. So let me slow down. So how did I learn? Because this is going to help me move into how I've been able to be so successful. So I learned about Bitcoin through I Am Master Academy, okay? I Am Master Academy is the #1 leading digital entrepreneurial academy in the world. It teaches you about foreign exchange market, binary options, which is foreign exchange, but you're just making an accurate prediction whether market is going to go up or down in a certain amount of time. And typically between 1 and 5 minutes. Some people do 15 minutes, but short amount of time to make money. Right. And then we have our Digital Currency Academy, which teaches you all about crypto, whether you want to day trade it or get a crypto wallet, right? And then we have drop shipping. So everyone knows where drop shipping is going, a billion dollar industry that is planned to triple right towards the end of the year. So anything digital currency, that's what our academy teaches, right? We have educational videos that are maybe about 3 to 5 minutes long that teaches you everything you need to know. Where did the foreign exchange market start? Who are the largest market participants? How do I get involved, right? And these are the same questions that are being answered for each chunk. So whether this is Forex, binary options, or crypto, right? And so how I've really been able to tune into crypto is because not only do we have access to educational videos, we have access to millionaire educators that trade with us live, that get on live with us, that we can ask questions to, that break it all down, who've been studying this crypto for 10 plus years, right? Like I know enough to make it, make money and to get my portfolio set up. But this is not my super profession, but I'm connected to the greatest. I'm connected to renowned professionals all around the world who study this coin, right? So I can get on what we call go live and learn from an educator, or they have recorded videos. So if you're new on Bitcoin, start here. It's an hour video. He's going to tell you, okay, here are the coins that I've been looking at, that I've been researching, right? That you can also add to your portfolio. He's made 6 figures earners, trillions of time. I remember around New Year's, he's like, guys, this is not the time to sleep on cryptocurrencies. He had Dogecoin on that list. Y'all seen what happened to Dogecoin? It went crazy. Had you listened to our educator back then, you would be XRP has gone, all these different things because he has the knowledge and I'm connected to that, right? We also have something called that swipe coin that kind of sends you like money text, right? When Bitcoin is really moving, Ethereum, XRP, anything like that. And our educators will literally say, buy Bitcoin to this point, Bitcoin to this point, like as it's moving. So I'm not sure if you guys seen, but when Bitcoin hit 40K, it was like a huge thing, right? Everyone's trying to invest in it. But what goes up must come down. The market, even if it's going up, it'll go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? So you know how the market moves. So you can day trade it, meaning when it's going down from that up, you can sell it, right? You can buy it. And so you guys might have seen Elon Musk invested $1.5 billion, right? Well, our educator, just because where market was at, we knew it was about to push up. Our educator sent a money text and he's like, hey guys, we're about to buy Bitcoin. So I'm already in the buy, right? I'm literally having Bible study with my mentors, okay? We're all like in the buy for Bitcoin, right? Whatever, we know it's about to go up. And we trust our educators because their results are phenomenal, right? Even before Bitcoin got to where it's at, before Christmas, when it was 15K, our educator said it's going to go to 18. When it went to 18, he said it's going to go to 23, hit 23. He said it's going to go to 29, hit 29. And because he knows market structure and what's going on, so I trust him, right? So I hop in this Bitcoin buy. And wow, crypto is so psychological, guys. Like, it's so cool. Like, crypto is so cool. But I would say definitely connect to a source that's going to, really teach you, right? Because I don't know everything, but I know the power of investing in your education. I know the power of being in the right circles. I know the power of having the access to the right information. So anyway, I'm gonna fast forward. This is like last week, okay? He literally tells us to buy Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin might have been at like 42K at this point, maybe even 45. I don't know. And he basically told us to buy it. So I'm having Bible study with my mentors, like in the investment group. And all I hear is my mentor, okay, he's like, whoa, Bitcoin just shot up. And I'm like, why aren't you paying attention? I go look at my phone. Before we started Bible study, I was up $127 off a 20-cent investment in Bitcoin, right? 5 minutes later, shoots up to $847 in 5 minutes, right? My mentor, like no income plans, nothing. He was like up 12K, right? In a matter of minutes. It is even if you had invested $10 or $20 into Bitcoin, actually the coin, you wouldn't have had a movement like that, right? You wouldn't have had that movement. So I'm just so happy, grateful, and thankful that I knew to already be in the buy before that news happened. And what's crazy is our educator told us, he was like, it's going to be some type of news or something right here that makes Bitcoin boom. It's just phenomenal, guys. And it's definitely something I would say invest your time in. I would definitely say, go to someone who's credible, where you have multiple educators who can teach you. And that's what I like about our academy is we have multiple educators, just like a college, right? Who are there to really teach you in different ways how you can be successful. And so that's how I became successful, is joining my academy and having access to millionaires I can trade with every day, having access to money tech, knowing even when I'm busy, right? Even when I'm busy, I know that there is an expert who is watching the market who's going to let me know what's going on, right? Even if I'm busy. But it's still something, it's definitely a skill you want to learn. You guys can learn this from Google, from YouTube. But in that way, it's like, who can you trust? Like, how do you really know this person knows what they're talking about, right? Where are their results? Like, can you talk to them? Like, you know what I mean? So this was just the best space for me and very affordable. So I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to tap into this. I trust them. I see their numbers. I've made money. Thousands of people made money. Our investment group went from 5 people to 70,000 in 3 years, right? Businesses don't have that type of success if it doesn't work, if it's not results driven. So just because my educator, Curtis Cobain, he told me, he said, everyone, this is the time to pay attention to crypto. Crypto was never at the front of my list, but I've made much more money in crypto than I have in binary options or even Forex, because crypto moves fast, guys. But definitely it's something that you should get involved with immediately.
So once again, a lot to unpack. I love it. So there are 3 things I'm thinking about as I'm listening to you. Number one, it reminds me back in the day when I was an investment advisor, and people would come into the office and talk to me like I had a magic wand. And I would tell them, look, the market's going to do what it's always done for the last century. It's going to go up. It's going to go down.
Yep.
You still have to educate yourself, right? You got to educate yourself. So it's no different here with cryptocurrency and learn about Bitcoin. You have to take the time to educate yourself, else you're just gambling, right?
Absolutely.
And there are resources and there are people who have the knowledge who can impart it, right? So in the investment advising world, that was Benjamin Graham, Munger, Buffett, all these individuals learned from them, and they pretty much shaped what the market is today in terms of investing in the stock market. Right now, as I listen to you, I'm thinking about, okay, these individuals that you're referencing are kind of like the pioneers of this market, right? And those individuals who learn the principles and foundations will succeed. And those who kind of mess around with this, well, good luck, right?
Really?
Now, here's the thing. You kind of answered it, but because I want people who, once again, just lay persons, but also individuals who are engaged too, right?
Yeah.
To understand this. For a person to hear this right now, they're sitting on a couple bucks in an account that they've saved up, and they say, you know what, I want to invest in this. I want to try this. Where would they start, right? In terms of, because I know where to send someone if someone says, hey, I want to buy A, B, C, and D, A, B, C stock, right? I can tell them exactly how to do it, what type of account to open up, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So how does a person start? And then if somebody asks me, well, how do I learn about the stock market? Well, I can say, pick up A, B, C, and D perspectives from 3-4 different companies, study how they move, study their information, and that'll give you a little bit of a background and understanding of thinking behind investing, right? And the fees and everything associated with it. What does that look like?
Most definitely. Great question. First, I would say, if you're just trying to buy it, I would say you can buy it through Cash App, you can buy it through Robinhood, but get an encrypted wallet. Don't keep it there. You need to get an encrypted wallet and move it to somewhere safe. You want to day trade it, you can use MetaTrader 4, MT4 for short, and you can day trade it. You would find a broker. I don't necessarily recommend certain brokers. You can figure out what broker works best for you, and you attach your broker to your MT4 account if you're trying to day trade it. You can upload money in there. I would say for someone who has a smaller budget, day trading it might be the better option for you. Now you might say, okay, English, how do I learn this? Obviously, you can go to Google or YouTube, or you can join my investment group and literally have the best academy ever, which is I Am Mastery Academy, right? I Am Mastery Academy. And when you join that academy, you typically have a mentor or a sponsor, and that would be me, right? So I do private trainings with my team, but really what you're investing in is a world-renowned education, right? That literally is going to explain everything to you, but then also give you an opportunity to have live conversations to make money live. A lot of times people do research and they're gambling because they're doing trial and error, right? They don't really know yet. And it's taking them a while to actually learn this skill. But what's cool about our academy is we have an earn while you learn system. So while you're still learning, while you're still going through your videos, you can be earning money immediately because we have live educators that are going to live trade with you, that are going to actually send you out signals, which signals is just telling you when you want to get in and out the market. And these are just numbers that you would copy and paste and put into your app. So sometimes people are like, hey, I may not have all the time to figure this all out, but I want to be in a results-driven space. Who can I listen to? I would say join I Am Academy. If you're like, okay, I actually want to learn this for real, right, and make money, I would say join I Am Academy. If you just want to learn this, you don't care about the time, the trial and error, go ahead and go over to good old Google, good old YouTube, do your research and make sure that you trust them. But I would say invest in your education, right? With no brainer spending $40,000 to $70,000 for college and still in debt. That's me, from college. But this is a space where you could come in and start making money right away. Is this a get rich quick scheme? Absolutely not. But this is a space where okay, this is an avenue for me to make daily income. Daily money. This is an avenue for me to connect with millionaires who know the ins and outs. So actually value who you're connected to. and invest in your education. I would say that's number one. Anybody that's interested in learning how to trade in the foreign exchange market, binary options, cryptocurrency, or even drop shipping, definitely let me know. I'm here to support you and to mentor you in that space, and help you get connected to the resources that'll move you forward. And that's what I say in Millennials versus Everybody too. Like, I connect millennials to the resources that move them forward. And I'm doing that in this same space, connecting you all to the resources that move you forward, that I trust, that are results driven. Men lie, women lie, numbers do not. To me, this is just the smartest way to go about it.
I love it.
So with all of these things, right? There's millennial versus everybody. There's all the crypto trade, everything you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot. You're mentoring a lot of people. You have a lot of moving parts at any given second of the day. What do you do when you're doing a bunch of different things, even though they all have a very similar mission and purpose behind it? How do you manage all of that?
It's difficult. What I've been learning is called balance. Mm-hmm. That's it. You got to make sacrifices to get to the next level. You might not be able to see your family as much. You might not be able to sleep as much. You might not be able to go out as much, but you got to have some type of balance. Do you guys think that Kobe Bryant slept a lot? You guys think he was able to spend a whole bunch of time with his family in the beginning? Absolutely not. You have to make sacrifices. So just know that off rip, right? Let's start there, and then 2, put balance in your life. Because me, I'm a hustler, straight work. And I have to remember, okay, English, find some balance. Even when you're on a diet or eating better, you got to have some balance. It's okay if you slip off, you might need a little bit of that, but have balance, get back on. So balance plays a huge role. It's not easy. No, you got to make sacrifices. This is not a perfect answer, but just be willing to do what you got to do to have the tomorrow that you want.
So I'm going to challenge you a little bit there, right? Because we all have habits or processes that we use to kind of organize our lives, right? And you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I just firmly believe balance is an oxymoron. It's just priorities, right? Picking and choosing what matters the most to you and then making decisions accordingly and being a grown-up and just accepting the consequences, right? For individuals listening in who want to know, okay, so what are the habits that you've developed, or what are the processes that you use to organize your life, right? So I know that's what people want to hear oftentimes. We talk about goal setting and vision planning and doing all these different things, but what are the tools? How do you go about doing that, English, to manage these 4 and 5, 6 different places that you're spending simultaneously? What's the process look like?
That's important. Have a routine, have a calendar, say your affirmations. Because when you're an entrepreneur, that is taxing on your mind, body, and soul. And you have to be intentional of how you care for yourself, like intentional and meaning like your mindset, right? So for me, I know 100-aire, not thinking like 1,000-aire, 1,000-aire is not thinking like a millionaire. Millionaire is not thinking like a billionaire. You have to constantly self-develop. So be intentional about self-developing. Be intentional about your routine. Wake up in the morning, do what you got to do. I would say get all the important stuff done first, right? Mm-hmm. And definitely just keep your level of belief high. So what does that look like? Actually write down what you know. I say to the people in my investment group all the time. I ask them, what are your monetary goals? 3 months from now, a year from now, what is your time commitment? Understand, people just think like stuff gonna happen without putting in no time. No, be aware. What is my time commitment? How much can I do? Know what you're gonna do throughout the week. Then I ask them, what are your sacrifices? A lot of people want different, but they don't do different. So I just bring this conscious up. Like, okay, I maybe can't watch Netflix how I did before. I maybe can't go out how I did before. A lot of people just be flowing through life, bro. That's not gonna work. You need to know, like be in the know. And the last thing I ask them is what mental state do you need to be in? How are you going to develop yourself mentally? Because you're not going to the next level without that. And I think sometimes people feel stagnant, but they're not doing any activities to change the narrative. They're not doing anything to take it to the next level. So first, identify what it is that I want. Am I doing everything right now to get there? Probably not. Right? Read a book, pick up a book, learn, develop yourself. It's something I'm constantly doing is always developing myself. You know what I'm saying? And identify what your wants and needs are, and then have a game plan. And if you need support, get support. People need coaches and mentors and it's an investment, you know, in yourself, literally. And it's being intentional. You really have to be intentional.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for. That's what I wanted to hear. We gotta give them the real English. We're not gonna give them candy coated stuff they see on
I
Facebook.
got you. Thank you.
I love it. So for the individuals listening who are thinking about entrepreneurship, thinking about getting involved in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, you know, what are some of the challenges and pitfalls that you've observed that they should anticipate to sidestep and avoid? What are some of the biggest errors that people are making when they decide?
Emotional trading. Mindset and emotional trading. I tell people all the time, trading is 80% mindset, 15% skill, and 5% risk management. Don't nobody believe me though until they get in it and they see. There's literally one person from my investment group who was trading for 6 months long, wasn't really making a lot of money, but she wasn't listening to her mentor when she said, you have to focus on your mindset. You literally have, when you sit down to trade, you have to be in a good mindset. You can't revenge trade, because the money be coming, fast too. But these are human emotions. We are going to become emotional traders, and you have to literally work on your mental health. Literally know that this is not a gamble, but we use strategy. If you're not using a strategy, you're not doing it right. If you don't have a strategy, you need to learn one. I think that's the biggest thing, is people just hop in, they're emotional. No, you gotta have a strategy before you get in the market. And you better know what you're doing, because you will lose your money. And then you emotionally trade, and then you won't trust it. I literally have a mentee too, where her parents think this is a scam because they might have had like a coin or something, and when it reached its cap, it sold down. So one time in his bank account, he was up 200,000, and the next day he wasn't. But it's like, you just didn't know that when it got to a cap, it's gonna fall down. You should have took your money out. What was going on in the news? But you didn't know, and so now you're kind of ignorant about it, and you're trying to influence that on your child, but you just don't know better. So another thing, read, learn, you know what I'm saying? Everyone, is so skeptical. Let me see if I can find this. Oh my God, if I could find this text, y'all, I will read it to you, because it is just so, it was so good. It was such a good text by one of, okay, here it goes. So when Bitcoin had that big jump, right? One of our mentors, Bryce Thompson, he was saying a lot of people got rich today, right? And then he said even more people stayed broke. And then he said skepticism is the catalyst for missed opportunities. Mic drops. It's like, wow, some of us became rich today, but a lot of us stayed even more broke because we're skeptical. And you've got to take a chance, right? You've got to take a chance, because what else you gonna do? Stay in the same rat race? What else you gonna do? What do you have to lose? Well, really, what do you have to lose? Your time, your freedom, your energy, right? Because you were scared. That's not about to help nothing, baby. If you take a risk every day going to that job, you take a risk every day stepping out your house. So you got to be comfortable and okay with taking risks. If you lose your money, you lose your money, but at least you tried, right? At least you tried. I mean, some people are cool with being complacent. That's not me. If you want more out of life, you got to do more.
I like it. So mindset, right? There's obviously content that you are consuming, things that you're listening to, books that you're reading. Throw out a couple.
Yeah, I would say Think and Grow Rich, developing the leader in you, developing the leaders around you. There's like a book called You Are a Badass. I say Bible study, really, for me personally, the Lord, like that's really where it comes from me, because I'm going to do some supernatural things. There are a lot of things in my life that it's something bigger than me that was able to do that, right? Affirmations, you can literally just type into YouTube wealth affirmations, love affirmations, abundance affirmations, right? You got to tell yourself these things, right? Into your subconscious is your conscious. You really got to like train your mind, right? Even if it's somewhere small, like I said, just YouTube or self-developing books. You can. Me and my team, we do mindset calls. You could just literally go to YouTube and go to motivational speeches, literally. Things like that. Sometimes you got to hear other people's story that they were just like you and they made it out. Because sometimes if you didn't see it, if you haven't heard the narrative, you don't believe it's true. So you really got to expose yourself.
What would you tell people right now who have gone through a rough year, right, with the pandemic? A lot of them are these 9-to-5 jobbers that, they came into a rude awakening that their jobs are not secure, right? Just because you have a job, it's not secure. What would you give advice would you give to someone who understands that they got to change something, they got to pivot, they've got to do something? What would be the first things you would tell someone like that?
I would tell them, I would say, hey, you know what I'm saying? I would just say, you are in control of your narrative. You get to write how 2021 comes out. Obviously, we don't control everything, but we control how we reacted to it. Some of us figure, okay, I've seen a lot of people talk about investing in crypto, and I was scared, but I ain't got time to be scared no more. You cannot be scared anymore. You literally cannot. It's scary. Entrepreneurship is scary. Investing is scary, but it's okay. Do it scared. My mom always says, do it scared. Do it scared. Have a motto this year. I'm going to do it scared. You feel me? If that's what you got to say, that's what you've got to say. I would definitely say you are in control of your narrative. You can't control anybody else's actions, but you can control yours. I've heard too many testimonies of people, but it really started with their belief. You've got to believe that you can change your narrative. You have to truly believe it. You got to believe it. If you don't believe, God can't release his blessings on you. He cannot. You have to first believe. If you don't believe, you're not going to manifest the things to come to you. You know, if you don't wake up every single day saying, I'm going to be a millionaire, you will not. Because when you say that, you seek that. You're not putting yourself in positions where that's the truth. If you're a solution-oriented thinker, you're not going to fail. Because some people will go into spaces and they'll let the first thing knock them down. Understand you're going to be knocked down. You got to be aware of that. You're going to be knocked down. That's a given. But how are you going to react? Are you going to be knocked down 7 times and stand up 8? Or are you going to be defeated and stay on the ground? You cannot do that. But you have to believe that I'm capable of having more. You have to believe that I will be rich this year. Because it's plenty of ways. There's too many ways to make money. But the mindset of people is what keeps them back. Their lack of belief that they can do it. If you don't believe you can do it, you're not even going to try to run the race. If you don't believe you can do it, you will not. So I would say that's the biggest thing. Start off with your belief and know that you write this story, you write this narrative, you are in control of it. Stop just living, have intention. You got to move it. I don't know how people treat in this world, but for me, I see it going with the haves and the have-nots. You see this capitalistic society, they're not really concerning too much about us. You've got to care. You've got to be like, I'm in a fight for my life. Am I going to have good health insurance or am I not? Be transparent. Am I going to retire my parents or I'm not? Am I doing enough? No, you're not doing enough. Everyone could be doing more. You're not doing enough. You are not. You're not doing enough. Stop, and people want to blame the world. Baby, I get it. It's not fair. It's not. It's really not. I get it. But you do have the power to change it around. I've seen it done too many times. You can't tell me that's not real. You can't tell me that, someone who had a baby at 16 was out the house, couldn't do nothing, is not a millionaire right now. You can't tell me that, right? You cannot tell me that. All the testimonies that I know are not true because I've seen it for myself. You cannot tell me that. So you've got to believe that, okay, it can be done for me. A lot of people are poor in the mind, passing over opportunities repeatedly. That's poor. Passing over opportunities repeatedly. You prayed for an outlet and it's in your face, but you didn't believe you can get it. You didn't grab it and it's right there. You got to grab it and be in control of your narrative. You literally can write your own story. You don't have to just go through it, and a lot of us do. We just go through it. We're comfortable. That's the norm. The 9 to 5, okay. We're comfortable. That's the norm. You got to step out. You just got to do it. You got to grow into a different version of yourself because, who you are right now is not going to get you to the next level. It's like, are you willing to die to birth something new? Because this version of you is not going to get you there. You literally have to recreate it. You got to put on your cape. Sometimes, like I'm, just me, English, I am I am very abundant, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes, even when it's time for me to be a different type of leader, I got to put on a cape because I am not the type to nag. I don't really like telling people 12 things 12 times. You know what I'm saying? That's just not my style of leadership. But I had to put on my cape and say, no, English, you have to hold them accountable. It's not even that. You're not being a nag. You're holding them accountable. So look, I'm changing my thinking. Right? It's not about me nagging. It's about me keeping the people. You say you have a goal, so I'm gonna hold you accountable for that. If I need to call you 5 times a day, then that's what we gotta do. But that's a part of me putting on my cape because English, I'm not like that, bro. I don't want to call you. I'm not doing all of that. But you've got to be okay with stepping outside of yourself. You've got to be okay with, just becoming larger and better. You want more. You got to do more. You got to be more.
I love it. We normally wrap up with several different questions, but you just crushed all of them.
Right. I know. I'm looking at this list. I'm like, she's answered 5 of these already.
Yeah.
Yeah, already. I love it. But at the end of the day, I'm going to make sure a lot of younger individuals, even folks I work with, listen to this. You're basically speaking truth, right? 99% of it is mindset. Right? If you believe you can achieve it, if you don't believe it, guess what? People wake up in the morning, you got negative people and positive people, they're both right. Right? The negative person thinks their world's going to suck. Guess what? They're going to find evidence the firm is going to suck. The individuals who wake up thinking they're going to win, they're going to be looking for evidence that they're going to win. And you just really crushed and surmised all of that. I guess a question I would ask is, and I kind of know what the answer is going to be, but I'm still interested to hear you capsulate this, right, as we wrap up here. What is the number one lesson you want to impart to individuals as it relates to entrepreneurship, as it relates to taking this step out on faith, right, and getting involved in the community and doing the work and investing, all these things that require a degree of risk? What's the number one piece of advice you'd give people?
Believe faster.
I love it.
Period. Believe faster. Because it took me where I'm at, it took me a long time to really believe it. It took me a long time. You got to just do it. I remember my motto in 2018 was just do it because I'm an overthinker. I will think about everything before I execute. You cannot be an overthinker. You just got to do it. Just do it wrong. Shoot, at least you're doing it because we get stuck in the not doing. We get stuck. You got to believe. Just believe faster. Believe faster. Even when you don't believe. Lie to yourself. That's okay too. You got to sometimes just lie to yourself until it's real, right? Because you've allowed negative lies to control who you think you are, and now it's real. We got people who've had teachers tell them when they were young that they're stupid. People don't forget stuff like that. Even Big Sean, he'll talk about that. He doesn't forget what his teacher once said to him. Right? We don't forget these things, but people have been intentionally nasty to us. Everyone has experiences, right? And we've internalized that. And everyone has healing to do, right? So that's just, everyone has healing to do, and we're a product of our environment and what we've heard. And everyone has gone through, no matter if you had a picket fence, everyone has, had things been said to them that were hurtful, that stuck with us, that are still with us to this day, and just understand that you've got to work just as hard to condition yourself to think differently, to move differently, but believe faster. Just believe faster. I promise you, because it's like a switch or something, it's like a switch. So just switch it faster. And like I said, even in the beginning, if you don't believe, just work on it. Just work on it immediately. I would just do the work, do it, apply. It's another thing. I took so many notes and I did not apply. I'm sure a lot of people have watched this stuff and didn't apply. Believe quicker and apply immediately.
So we also ask one other question that's more of like a fun question, right? To everyone, but and you can answer, and it's like a 2-part question, but you can answer either or. So one is, what is your superpower, and or what is your spirit animal?
Look at her.
Yeah, think about that one.
I'm so damn deep, freaking deep. Sorry if I'm not French. I feel like I'm so deep. I'm thinking like, I really do feel like God has blessed me with the ability to really make sure people feel, seen and heard. People feel my love for whatever reason. So many people are comfortable with just saying things to me. And I'm like, I'm glad you feel like you have this space to be free. I don't know what it is. And I feel like that's just a little superpower. And that's not little, it is a big superpower.
Yeah.
I've had to create safe spaces, and I've learned about it, through different fellowships and stuff I've been in. But it's just something since a little girl, just like a light that I bring, that's transferable. It's the light that I have is transferred on to others. You know what I'm saying? And it's just been that way since I was a little girl.
Perfect.
I don't know what my spirit animal is, but I think that's my
That's your superpower. Absolutely. Along with many others, I would agree. English, if people want to reach out to you, talk to you more, learn from you, what is the best way to get in contact with you?
You can go to English, INGLISHR as in Reed, J as in Jones at gmail.com, EnglishRJ@gmail.com. Always feel free to hit me up on social media. Instagram is English with an I. So that's INGLISHWITHANI. That's literally my Instagram name. Facebook and LinkedIn is my full name. English Reed-Jones, and you could connect with me on that anytime. I do crypto, forex, binary options, drop shipping informationals every Sunday at 2:00. And I always drop the flyer to that stuff on my different social media platforms. Like I said, you can email me at any time if you need me. millennialsversuseverybody.com is our .com. If you're interested in getting your nonprofit put on our site, then definitely let me know that too. I think it's info@millennialsversuseverybody that you can email. But like I said, y'all got my personal email. Reach me on social media at any time. I would love to teach you all how to invest smart, 100%. That anybody, we have investors on our team from 18 to 63, a little bit younger than that. So, anybody can learn how to trade. Anyone can do it. I do have people on my team who just put their kids on it, right? Teaching them a skill as well. So I would definitely say, do it scared, y'all. Just do it, take risks.
Perfect.
Definitely connect with me.
Perfect. Thank you, English. This was a powerful one. I'm excited to share it with a lot of people. Thank you again. Please, our audience, please reach out to English. Leave your comments here below. We'll make sure she gets those responses as well.